When you hear the word aesthetics, does it remind you of a branch of philosophy, or does it make you think of a specific visual style on the internet, like a person wearing dark purple clothes and reading books, or a girl in white flowy dress collecting berries in a garden? Today, we'll talk about aesthetics, with a focus on what people call internet aesthetics, social media aesthetics, or occasionally Gen Z aesthetics. Still, though the focus is more on youth internet aesthetics, we will also talk a bit about aesthetic philosophy, which the meaning was coined before the social media era. And of course, we're going to explore why internet aesthetics gain popularity, different types of aesthetic, how youth subcultures and aesthetic differ from one another. The word aesthetics came from the Greek word aesthetikos, which mean pertaining to sensory perception or perceptive. In philosophy, aesthetic refers to formal study of the principle of art and beauty. Aesthetics asks questions like how to consider something beautiful, what is art, what distinguishes high art from popular art. If two people disagree about something so subjective like the beauty of a painting, is there any objective truth to end the argument? Alexander Gottlieb Baumgarten was generally acknowledged as the first person to provide the contemporary philosophical definition of the term aesthetics. His definition of aesthetics was about sensory cognition, how we perceive the world, including the perception of beauty through senses. Baumgarten published a book named Aesthetica in 1750. Though Baumgarten is widely regarded as the first to define the field of aesthetics, Immanuel Kant was known to make aesthetics more systematic. Critique of Judgment, published in 1790, was one of Kant's influential works on the subject. Kant discussed how disinterestedness is one of the most important criteria for determining beauty. Disinterestedness in Kant's philosophy is when you find something beautiful without practical purposes or personal biases, such as liking clouds on the sky simply because it's beautiful, not because you realize how you can utilize the beauty of the sky for other purposes. Also, Kant's subjective universality concept proposed that something can be considered beautiful when you believe you can say that an object, like the sky, is beautiful for everyone, not only for yourself. Of course, there are more debates and theories from other philosophers regarding beauty, but I think now you have an idea of what aesthetics mean before it becomes the internet aesthetics most millennials and Gen Z are familiar with. An aesthetic on the internet nowadays, however, refers to an overall visual identity or overall mood. Sometimes it includes not only visuals but also music and activities that add to the overall mood or overall visual. Moreover, aesthetic can be used as an adjective to describe something you personally find beautiful. For example, you might have heard some teenagers say something like, "Oh, that's so aesthetic." Here are some examples of well-known aesthetics and their brief definition. Dark academia is an aesthetic that emphasizes the pursuit of knowledge, portrayed in a rather gloomy and mysterious board school setting with classic scholastic motifs like books, letters, or quills with dark color tones. Likewise, dark academia fashion items are scholastic as well, like pleated skirt, pleated pants, shirts, blazers, knitted sweaters, and sweater vest. Dark academia often focuses more on learning for the sake of learning. It can be a reflection that this learning approach, to study without interest in money or utility, is quite dark, as it is usually exclusive to those of higher economic status. If dark academia romanticizes learning, then cottagecore romanticizes Western rural life. Cottagecore enthusiasts celebrate simple living and sustainability. The setting of cottagecore is typically on a farm or in a cottage amidst nature, away from the hassles of city life. The style is often represented with women in white flowy dresses, but men can also incorporate farm-inspired or vintage fashion like flannel or khaki pants to embrace these aesthetics. Apart from these most well-known styles, there are many other aesthetics to explore. For example, weirdcore, a surreal aesthetic with visuals that provoke more and more confusion. Grunge, an untidy look inspired by punk and rock bands. Y2K, a retrofuturistic style focusing on the design of the mid-90s and early 2000s. Royalcore, an aesthetic based on Western royalties. Old money, an aesthetic based on the classic style of the high class. Barbiecore, a style that embraces hot pink and is inspired by the famous doll Barbie. Despite the difficulty in tracking when exactly the internet aesthetic began, many aesthetics including the academia and cottagecore were developed on Tumblr, despite the fact that they are most well known on other social media like TikTok or Instagram. Internet aesthetics become a thing as the internet has gradually integrated into our daily lives. And is there any easier way to express one's identity than sharing it on social media? Before aesthetics, subcultures like punks, emos, hippies, and goth were common self-identifiers and form of self-expression, especially for teenagers. If you want to find out why subculture were common in the late 1900s, you can watch it here in my video about subcultures. The reason why young people nowadays lean toward aesthetics might also be because of how easy it is to discover various styles of aesthetics on the internet. Furthermore, aesthetics gain massive popularity when the pandemic strikes. People have become more isolated, and the only medium to connect with other people is social media. This provided an excellent opportunity for different aesthetics to shine. For example, many people miss the environment of schools and universities after they are all closed, leading to the rise of dark academia. When lockdown began, it decreased the opportunities for us to connect with nature, hence the rise of cottagecore. These aesthetics allow us to connect the real world with an imaginative world. One thing that most of the popular aesthetics have in common is a nostalgia theme. Y2K and grunge style represents the fashion during the 2000s and in the late 1980s respectively. Ultra-feminine styles like Barbiecore help people express their femininity in a familiar way, like their childhood doll, after the expression of femininity has been repressed in the past. Aesthetics based on historical styles are often criticized as being white supremacy or androcentrism. It is quite true in the case of references for these styles, however. Many Black, Asian, and people in LGBTQ+ community have become influential in these areas too. With a proper application, I think these aesthetics help us live in a fantasy yet historical-based world safely, with less racism and sexism, and with support from the community. In the previous video about subcultures, I mentioned that one question we will explore today is aesthetics subculture 2.0? Let's start by comparing youth subcultures and aesthetics. There are three main similarities and differences between them. Similarity number 1. Each subculture and aesthetics all have its own distinct visual style. It is true that not all goth dress like this, but when we talk about subcultures like goth or punk or emo, some visual representations always pop up in our mind. Number 2. Both of them, both subculture and aesthetic, foster a sense of community or belonging, a form of self-identification with like-minded individuals. Number 3. Subcultures and aesthetics typically have their core value or activity within the group. For instance, punk and cottagecore are both anti-capitalism. Additionally, punk usually goes with DIY or do-it-yourself, and cottagecore care about sustainability. And here are the differences. Number 1. In general, aesthetics are more visual-based. Number 2. Aesthetics are not, by definition, forbidden from being mainstream. Subculture, on the other hand, is defined as having characteristics that differ from the mainstream. Still, it is essential to note that many aesthetics also reject mainstream values. Subcultures are more physical and face-to-face, while aesthetics are based on the internet. People who enjoy an aesthetic do not typically go out and have a meetup, like how the Lolita subculture dresses up and organizes tea parties together. In short, aesthetics are similar to youth subcultures, but with more emphasis on visuals. Many aesthetics have their core values like subcultures, while some might be more about gathering visual elements. You can even search for visuals like Alice in Wonderland aesthetics or Harry Potter aesthetics these days. Like everything, there are both good and bad points in internet aesthetics. The positive aspect of aesthetic is that it assists in self-exploration, in discovering what you like or enjoy and how you want to express yourself. It is also an easy way to feel connected with like-minded people that we might not be able to find in our real-life social circles. Also, aesthetics can empower people to take action in their real life, whether it's about studying or reliving the past that is safe for marginalized people, or about embracing femininity. Nonetheless, too much of anything can be harmful. Immersing in aesthetics without considering your true self can harm your uniqueness. Doing something just to look aesthetic does not help you express yourself anymore. On the other hand, taking aesthetics on the surface level is not always wrong. Nonetheless, if you think of aesthetics like cottagecore only as a visual style and buy lots of clothes from fast fashion brands just so that you can fit in the cottagecore style, that kind of goes against the whole anti-capitalism value of cottagecore. So, the final take on this is that the word aesthetics has a very deep meaning both in philosophy and on the internet. I noticed that some people think it's a shame that younger generation don't quite understand how deep the root of this word is, which I agree to some degree, but that's just because I want to share how cool this word actually is. I cannot decide if this change is good or bad because, in reality, the meaning of a word gradually changes all the time. As per choosing an aesthetic, aesthetics is a good channel to explore and connect, but it's important not to confine yourself within a framework. After all of us may have many similar characteristics, but we are also unique in our own way. Hi, thank you for being here. Exploring aesthetics is more fun than I anticipated, including the aesthetic philosophy, so if you like this video, make sure to like, comment and share so that I know you also enjoy this topic and so that I'll make another video similar to this. Thanks again, and I hope to see you on the next journey.